Hi everyone, it's Alina here from Creative Field Designs and I'm back with another calligraphy tutorial. So this time we'll be focusing on Bouncy Calligraphy. We'll do some really lovely words and we'll do them twice. We're going to do each word twice to really refine our technique, and we'll be using dip pens and ink. So something a bit different. I normally teach in brush pen here on YouTube, it appears, but we'll try doing some work with ink and I think it's going to be really beautiful. So I think Bounty calligraphy can be a little bit difficult to learn, especially in dip pen calligraphy. So I'll guide you through it. I'll share as many tips as I can to really simplify the process for you. So I hope you'll have some aha moments, some insights, and I hope this will support your calligraphy journey in the future. So if you're feeling ready, grab your supplies. I've added all the supplies in the description. You can have a look. Let's get ready and do some beautiful bouncy calligraphy. So we're going to begin by drawing some guidelines, maybe using a ruled pad already, which is wonderful. So I'm just using this plain paper. So I'm definitely going to draw some baselines. I do recommend practicing with at least a baseline when you're practicing bouncy calligraphy in particular, or when you're trying to keep your lettering consistent and balanced and proportional. It's nice to know where your baseline is. So we're going to draw 6 lines. So we're going to need 6 lines. We're going to do I think six different words. And we're going to focus on some beautiful summery berry fruit words. And the first word we're going to do is the word strawberry. Quite long for the first word, but I'm going to guide you through it. So we are going to start with the letter S. And as we do the letter S, we're going to drop it below the baseline. We're going to make it a bit bigger. It's still a lowercase letter here, but we're just stylizing it by making the loop quite big. Notice how the transitions between T and R and A are quite sharp looking. They're almost V-shaped. And that's very, very common in bouncy calligraphy. You're kind of turning your U-shaped connection strokes into V shapes. I'm creating like a bigger loop on the letter B and wrapping it around the downstroke to stylize it. Notice how certain strokes drop below the baseline to create that bouncy effect, like the second stroke of the letter A drops below the line. You can also drop the letter T below the baseline. The letters R can also stretch below the baseline. They are very bounceable letters. So there are some letters that are more bounceable, and letters R are definitely bounceable. Well done. So now that we've done it once, we can just try it again with a bit more flow, with a bit more rhythm. So we're just going to look at our previous example and self critique. So just see what needs improving. Is it spacing? Is it balance? Notice how the letters T and B stretch higher up. So they are ascender letters, they're ascending. So they definitely want to be higher to show proper proportions of calligraphy. So the letters T and B stretch higher up, but the letter Y drops lower down to reach a descender line. Try to keep your letters R fairly similar. So wherever you have like a double R in your word, I find that it's nice to keep them similarly slanted, kind of similarly sized. It always looks a bit more balanced, but of course you can also add a bit more character. And I'm just doing like a really long cross line over the letter T to add that nice playful touch. So it looks as if it flows a bit more. Lovely. So the second word we'll do together is the word apricot. A bit shorter. We have the letter P here, which can feel a bit tricky. So let's see. We're starting with the letter A. We're stretching the downstroke of the letter A, the last downstroke of the letter A, below the baseline. Then we're focusing on the letter P being low enough. So again, it's descending. It's a descender letter. So it wants to stretch low down. The letter R is super bouncy here, so you can see how I'm stretching it below the line, forming like a V shape at the bottom of the letter R and transitioning into the letter I. I'm doing the same thing with the letter I and the letter T. So notice how sharp the bottom of the letter looks here. We're turning those soft U shapes into V shapes. Very, very common in bouncy calligraphy. That's what adds a lot of character and playfulness to your strokes. And let's try doing it again. So just doing it twice again to just get into a nice rhythm, into a bit more flow as you do it the second time. And you can separate the cross line over your letter T, especially if your downstroke of the letter T is looking really wet. Try doing your cross line over the T in two goes. So just do the left side, stop, and then do the right side. Lovely, well done. You can pause the video if you need to catch up and if you need a bit more time, of course. And when you're ready, we're going to do another combination of words here. So we're going to do lemon balm. Lemon balm. So it's two words, and notice how bouncy the letter L looks, as well as the letter M and the letter N. So all of these letters are super bounceable. So we're bouncing the last downstroke of the letter M and N below the baseline and stretching it back up with a thin stroke. Looks super playful. Let's start the word balm with like a longer stroke on the letter B, just to show a beautiful entrance stroke. And again, bouncing the letter A and the letter M, stretching the last downstroke of those letters down, keeping our downstroke straight, and then forming a V shape as we transition into the upstroke and stretching the upstroke to the side. Okay, you're doing great. If you got this far, that's amazing already. Well done. And we're going to try this again just with a bit more flow. I'm going to give you some time here to just practice, relax, get into it. It'll take a bit of time for your hand to warm up, so maybe you're still not feeling that flow, which is very normal. So just keep going. Try to focus on your ink as well, how often you're dipping. If you run out, it's absolutely fine. Just redip. It happens to all of us. Nobody's perfect. So if you do make a tiny mistake, if there's a little smudge, or if you over dip and you get a big blob of ink coming out, just keep going. It's very normal. It's handmade. We're not computers. We're doing it by hand. So those things will just happen from time to time. Lovely. Okay, shall we do something shorter to just rest our hand for a second? We're going to do the word fig. So fig. So Fig. Three letters. So we're starting with the letter F, and notice how it's a very tall letter. So it stretches all the way up to meet the ascender line, and it also stretches down to meet a descender, right? So it's going up and down. So it's definitely a big, long letter. So then we are doing the letter I. We're bouncing it. There's definitely a bit of a V shape going on there at the bottom of the letter. And because there are only three letters in this word, we can definitely play with spacing. We can make this word really well spaced, leaving a lot of room in between the letters. And to achieve that, let's remember we are in control of spacing. So when we finish the letter, we're going to intentionally stretch the upstroke sideways to create a bit more room between the letters. So as you stretch to the side, rather than stretching up, you create a bigger gap between your letters. So just keep stretching that exit stroke of each letter to the side to create a bigger gap. So this way, it'll just look a bit more spaced, it'll take a bit more room. Yeah, so you just won't look as squished together. It's quite nice to do this with shorter words like this. So let's just do it a couple of times. It's a very short one, so we can definitely squeeze in a few more. Well done. I love short words. Should we do something short again? Maybe we can do, I'm just thinking of those bounceable letters again. We can do the word mint. So we've got the letter M, the letter N, and we know that these are very bounceable. So, very similar to the word lemon where we did M and N, we're going to focus on a similar technique. So we're bouncing the last downstroke of the letter M and the letter N below the baseline and back up, forming a V shape if we can to create that sharper looking, edgy transition. And we're going to do it again. So starting on the baseline pretty much, and then remembering to separate each letter into shapes. If you're struggling with letter formations, I have a wonderful beginner's course that shows you how to build each letter out of shapes, how to refine each letter, how to practice it, how to, join them up into words. So that could be something to come back to if you're struggling with stopping in between the letters, in between the shapes, which is such a big and important part of calligraphy. Right, so I kind of trapped myself with the letter F there and the letter T, so I had to kind of squish my letter T a little bit. I didn't leave enough of a gap, but it's still fine. It's bouncy calligraphy. We can stretch our letters, we can reposition them, we can change their height, which is allowed in modern calligraphy, and it's wonderful. You can really take it as far as you like. Okay, so shall we do one last one? We're going to do elderflower. I keep seeing a lot of elderflowers out there. It's definitely the season, and it just kind of popped into my mind. So let's letter it together. We are going to bounce the letter L. We are going to bounce the last downstroke of the letter D. Let's focus on the letter F being tall enough. So L, D, F, and L, they're all reaching the same point at the top. So L, D, F, and L, they're all ascender letters. And the letter W can be a bit bounced. You can definitely drop it below the line. And the letter R is quite bouncy as well, with the downstroke stretching below the line. And we're going to do this one more time. Last tip I'll give you about bouncy calligraphy is that it's really nice to keep some of the letters a bit smaller. So I love keeping the letters E and the letters O a little bit smaller in this style. So you can definitely play with the size of the letters as well as the height, which we're doing by bouncing the letters. So there we go. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you picked up a few tips. I would really, really love to see how you're getting on. So please tag me on Instagram. I would love to see your version of this, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd love to learn more from me, I have wonderful courses to support your calligraphy journey. I also run a Blooming Calligraphers membership, which is so much fun. It's such a lovely community. It's a wonderful place to feel supported, to have access to so many tutorials, to so many resources, and constant feedback as well. So if you'd like to join, have a look in the description. I'll add a link for you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.